Hi everyone, welcome to my in-depth analysis of poetry by the Literature Tutor Part 3. This video is suited for upper sec and senior IP students. It focuses on how to answer literature essay questions. We are talking about answering unseen poetry. It is a step-by-step guide to understanding and applying the writing techniques. The poem chosen today is Love Song with Two Fish by Grace Chua. The question: how does the poet powerfully portray the relationship between the man and the woman? For the detailed annotation of the devices and meanings in the poem, please refer to this link. I've done a fairly detailed analysis of the poem, focusing on meanings and effects. For my second video, please press on the link here and take a look at it. Before we continue, please press the subscription and like buttons below. If you have seen all my poem analysis, a lot of careful attention is paid to details, and so I do humbly need your encouragement to continue to provide more online help to students and everyone else interested. Love Song with Two Fish by Grace Chua. The poem is on the right, so please take a while to read it. He's a drifter, always floating around her, has nowhere else to go. He wishes she would sing, not much, just the scales, or take some notice, give him the fish eye. Bounded by round walls, she makes fish eyes and kissy lips at him, darts behind pebbles, swallows his charm hook, line, and sinker. He's bowled over. He would take her to the ocean. They could count the waves. There, in the submarine silence, they will share the deepest secrets, die for pearls, like stars. But the love scene's gone belly up. His heart sinks like a fish. He drinks like a stone, drowns those sorrows, stares emptily through glass. The reason she said she wanted and he could not give, a life beyond the bowl. I find this poem very charming actually. Let's look at the question. How does the poet powerfully portray the relationship between the man and the woman? What are the steps to answering questions? Well, first of all, you have to underline the keywords in the question. That would be step 1. So what are the keywords? Powerfully portray relationship between the man and the woman. After that, you have to unpack the keywords. So the keyword that we have to unpack here would be powerful. What does powerful mean? Impactful, unusual, remarkable, distinctive, arousing, or eliciting strong emotions in readers. And then you have to annotate the poem, which is already done in the second video. Step 4, come up with the points. If your teacher or examiner expects 4 body paragraphs, then try to come up with 4 to 5 points. Each point in one paragraph, so you can choose the better ones, meaning those that you are confident of providing better explanations. Step 5, decide on the explanation for your points. Step 6, write your answer. In this video, I will only be doing 1 point and I'll be writing that particular paragraph on that point. Now, I know a lot of schools are now using PEEL. In fact, we have been using PEEL for a very, very long time. So, what does P stand for? P stands for point, E is evidence, and then the other E is explanation, and then the L is link back to the point. Now, let me explain. Okay, the P, when we do the evidence, we try to bring in the context so that it won't come across as abrupt. I will show you how I do it. And then for the explanation, some schools prefer to use A, which stands for analysis. So PEEL or PEAL, they are basically the same. And then there are some more variations like PEE without the L. Okay, that means point, evidence, explanation. Now I go on to the next one. Now this is my point one, which I'm going to write into a paragraph. So when I plan my essay, after I unpack the keywords, I will have to start annotating. After annotating, what do? I have to start planning my answer. So for point one, I decided to talk about the use of the extended fish metaphor to refer to the courtship of the man and the response of the woman. I'll be focusing on the courtship of the man and the response of the woman. And then I'll go on to say, how is this powerful? Because the question is about how does the poet powerfully convey the relationship between the man and the woman. Okay, so for this one, we have to look at the end of the relationship. How is it powerful? I find it, well, refreshing, comical, parody, tragic comedy. So these are all my points. Now go on to write the essay. You notice that my essay, at least the paragraph, is pretty colorful, okay? So I'm going to read it to you first. First, the poet portrays the relationship between the man and the woman as one which started on a promising note only to end very quickly. The use of an extended metaphor by comparing the relationship between the man and the woman to that between two fish in a fishbowl is seen in the lines, "He's a drifter, always floating around her." This evinces that he's constantly following the woman, pardon my typo error, wishing that she would give him the fish eye. Clearly, he's eager to catch her attention. This portrayal is powerful because the fish metaphor adds a refreshingly comic touch to an otherwise conventional courtship. Likewise, the positive response of the woman described in "She makes fish eyes and kissy lips" is again comical and unique. At last, she loses interest in him very quickly. Another scenario which is portrayed using the fish metaphor, with the end of her love for him being described by the poet as "gone belly up." A dead fish always floats on the water belly up. This image is powerful because its impact is both sad and comical, with tragic comic effects, as an otherwise sad situation where the demise of a relationship is portrayed in a parodic manner. So all the points are in orangey yellow color. So I start my paragraph by making a point. First, the poet portrays the relationship between the man and the woman as one which started on a promising note only to end very quickly. Then I go on to talk about the device used to portray this point. And I want to focus on the use of the extended metaphor because the whole poem is actually an extended metaphor. So I want to start with the main device first. Okay, so the use of an extended metaphor by comparing the relationship between a man and a woman to that between two fish in a fishbowl is seen in the lines. So what am I doing here? I'm giving evidence. He's a drifter, always floating around her. Now, you notice that when I give the evidence, I don't jump in and straight away quote the lines or line. What I do is I talk about the context. I say this is used The extended metaphor is used to compare the relationship between the man and the woman to that between the two fish in the fish bowl. So I bring in the context. Then I quote the evidence and I explain. My explanation is in green. This evinces that he's constantly following the woman, wishing that she would give him the fish eye. Clearly, he's eager to catch her attention. This portrayal is powerful because the fish metaphor adds a refreshingly comic touch to an otherwise conventional courtship. Now, when I underline my green words, I'm explaining how it is powerful. Okay, so after I do a simple explanation, a simple but accurate explanation of the evidence, I go on to explain how it is powerful. This is an important part which should not be omitted. Likewise, the positive response of the woman described in "She makes fish eyes and kissy lips" is again comical and unique. Also, she loses interest in him very quickly. Another scenario which is portrayed using the fish metaphor, with the end of her love for him being described by the poet as gone belly up. Now, I add on another evidence. This is my second evidence, and every evidence, as I've explained, must be followed by a quick explanation, which is actually included in the point. I talk about the end of her love for him being described by the poet as gone belly up. And then straight away, I explain a dead fish always floats on the water belly up. That is my explanation. And then I go on to talk about how powerful it is. So what do? I use back the same color and then underline. The image is powerful because its impact is both sad and comical, with tragic comic effects, as an otherwise sad situation where the quick demise of a relationship is portrayed in a parodic manner. So what is parodic? Parodic is the adjective of parody. When you make a parody of something, that means you basically imitate a situation or a person or an event or some conventional norms with the idea of ridiculing it, making fun of it, for a good laugh. It's different from satire. Satire is when you make fun of something to criticize, to attack it, to make a very serious point about something. Okay, but a parody is usually for a good laugh, for entertainment. Now, sharp-eyed students would notice by now that I have omitted a linking sentence. I deliberately omitted it here because I want to bring it up later to talk about how we can create linking sentences without regurgitation of the main points for the essay. That means I don't want a link where I just merely repeat the point. So one that is a mere repetition of the point would be, therefore, the poet portrays the relationship between the man and the woman as one which started on a promising note only to end very quickly. I want my students to avoid doing that kind of linking sentence, and I'll be covering it in a short while. Just bear with me. Points to note about the answer. I would like to talk about this first before I come back to the linking sentence. I always avoid framing my point with a literary device. I do not start with the poet uses an extended metaphor to portray the relationship. Instead, I make a point about the relationship that the poet wants to portray, and then bring in the literary devices that the poet uses to portray the relationship. And then I will explain the use of the device and then comment on how the device depicts the relationship in a powerful way. As for the link, I have explained earlier, I do not repeat the point ad verbatim, but I rephrase it and enhance it. How do I do that? I put in the devices that I've just explained. Through the use of the extended fish in a fishbowl metaphor, the poet has succeeded in portraying the relationship between the couple from its beginning to the end of it powerfully. You see how I continue to make direct reference to my point? I add value to it by bringing in the devices. So I hope you find this example helpful, and I hope that you all have learned something from how to answer questions effectively. The type of questions I have chosen would be from now onwards more geared towards the O-level students because the O-level exams are around the corner. I've come to the end of the session. Thank you for watching this session. Please share with those who are likely to find the session helpful. Remember to press the like and subscription buttons below. Stay safe and take care, everyone. See you soon.